Hey up everyone, hope you're all doing well. So Artem Lobov, former friend of Conor McGregor, has been on the Ariel Helwani show and he gave us a bit of insight of what it was like in the training camp of Conor when he was about to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov. So here we have it. Artem Lobov says Conor McGregor only trained twice a week for his fight against Khabib Nurmagomedov. He goes on to say, if only you trained 4 times a week, you probably would have beaten him. But imagine him with a full camp, the Conor that fought Alvarez. Imagine that Conor against Khabib. That's what I want to see. Now, I'm sorry to ruin your little party here, Artem, but that version of Conor does not beat Khabib. I'm telling you now, if Conor McGregor not only does train 4 times a week, if Conor McGregor trained every day of the week and it didn't have any negative effect on his body, because obviously you need rest, he would have still lost to Khabib. He could train 7 times a week. He would have still lost to Khabib. Don't get me wrong, Conor did a somewhat decent performance, but regardless, it was still a losing performance. People always say he was looking good with his takedown defense, but he still got taken down within the first minute. Yeah, he was doing the right things, but his speed was just still on another level and Conor couldn't do anything about it. That is that. It's plain and simple. And when they say, people always say, well, if it was the McGregor who fought Alvarez who fought Khabib, Conor would have won. Why are people so confident with that narrative? I've never really understood it. Oh, because he looked great against Eddie Alvarez, he's now going to look great against Khabib. Don't get me wrong, Conor against Eddie Alvarez, he was so switched on. That's the best he's ever been, in my opinion, and I think most people share that opinion as well. But it's a completely different style. Eddie Alvarez was there to be hit constantly. Khabib wasn't, you know? Even if it's because, like, oh, it's motivation, he would have done better with his grappling. Maybe he would have, but I still think just the difference in class is still very evident between a prime Conor and a prime Khabib. This isn't... People always fail to mention that as well. This is like a prime Khabib, in my opinion. People want to talk, oh, wait, if it was a prime McGregor. No, what happens if it was a prime Khabib, which it was? And you know what? How people always gas up the performance against Eddie Alvarez. Let's just look at Eddie Alvarez's record, shall we? Because I keep on always seeing it brought up. So if we look at Eddie Alvarez, you know, respectable guy, took some wins, took some losses, some big ones, some big losses, some big wins here and there. Wish-washy career, but he's still a champion in Bellator and in the UFC. Now, before he lost to Conor McGregor, he lost to Donald Cerrone in his UFC debut. Now, that's not brilliant. Again, this was an okay Cerrone as well, arguably a prime Cerrone, so I won't hold it against him too much. But at the end of the day, it's still Donald fucking Cerrone. After that, he wins a split decision against Gilbert Melendez. Okay, Gilbert Melendez, okay. You win a contested fight against him, cool, whatever. After this, you beat Anthony Pettis, who was just lost to RDA, I believe, and that was a split. I don't think that should have been a split, if I remember correctly. I think it was quite competitive from here and there, but it was a very boring fight. It got criticized badly for being very, very boring. And then Eddie Alvarez goes on to starch RDA in the very first round. Now, don't get me wrong, that is a great win, but people always talk about flukes and Hail Marys, but never really mention this performance, in my opinion. And he literally just lands a big overhand on RDA and then just goes at him for like a solid minute, in all fairness. Great win, don't get me wrong, but does this really stand out massively as like some unreal 3-fight win streak? Not really, in my opinion. He got a title shot off of a 2-fight win streak, and 2 of those fights weren't even that fun to watch regardless, so he was quite lucky to get the title shot. And then the version we saw against Conor McGregor, yes, McGregor looked great, but Alvarez looked like shit. He looked like shit. He looked like shit. Like, come on, who are we trying to kid? You cannot try and say to me that Eddie Alvarez, look, that was like a great Eddie Alvarez. You know how, like, Volkanovski completely shut out, like, a prime Max Holloway in the 3rd fight and absolutely did him on the feet? You know, you can give context for fights like that. When you try to give context for this McGregor win, you can't really say, oh, yeah, Alvarez, he was brilliant, he was. In my opinion, he's one of the worst UFC champions we've had. Just putting it out there. Hate on it all you want. That's always been my opinion. I mean, even after the Conor stuff, he got a win against Gaethje. Great win. I feel like this was when Gaethje was very punch drunk, though. After this loss to Eddie Alvarez, that's when Gaethje really came into it and became patient Gaethje, is what people started to call him. He had a no contest against Dustin Poirier. Very close, fun fight, in all fairness. Then he lost to Dustin Poirier, and that was it for Eddie Alvarez in the UFC. Then he went to one championship, and it was just wishy-washy. You know, nothing really sticking. Same goes for his bare knuckle FC stuff, so I'm not going to take that into consideration too much. He was the man in Bellator, in all fairness, as well. A loss to Chandler, a win against Chandler. But, like, let's not try and trying to act like Eddie Alvarez was some crazy elite comp fighter for McGregor to pick off. And that's why it just annoys me when you see people start conversation that a prime Conor would have possibly beat Khabib, because I just don't think that was the case whatsoever. I'm sick of seeing this argument that, because he trained twice a week and all this, that, and the other. Like, don't get me wrong, he still did decent against Khabib, but no matter what version of Conor showed up against Khabib, he would have lost. I'm sorry to break it to you, he would have lost. And this is from someone who was rooting for McGregor to beat Khabib, by the way. I wanted him to beat Khabib, and he didn't. And I think any version of Conor wouldn't beat Khabib. And I think if you do think that, you're quite silly and daft, in my opinion. But what do you guys think about Khabib and Conor? What do you think about this information that apparently only trained twice a week? I mean, that is shocking as well, by the way. This big fight against Khabib, an undefeated fighter, no matter whether you think he's good enough or not, because I know McGregor was like, oh, he's not that great, all this, that, and the other. But like, even if you truly think that, this is an undefeated guy who's been mauling and dominating people, you should at least show enough respect to, commit a lot more to it. I mean, even at a press conference, he was pissed up and whatnot. Oh, Lord, save me. Oh, this, that, and the other. But guys, what do you think about this? Do you think a prime McGregor who showed up against Eddie Alvarez will be able to defeat Khabib Nurmagomedov? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a subscribe. I'll keep you up to date with UFC news. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.